Unim say, I was young Pimpino, Yana Adia Benya, Yemu. The Ghana education sector and another Danko for administration. Doctor, your said issue. Now, some countries are willing, are eager. Say, Ombenya, how na or my prepare education because education for the past 5 years or so. Na cost smoothly our Ghana pa ama hodo so nyina no hweye esuaye na doctor you said it makasa actually wana na ewo pepa se Ghana baby a yede ade sua ko no ko mokra no e bia o Nigeria o UK ni ade kra sorry anko fa hu suro se o de ne ba eba school e Ghana ha na unim say most of the times yana manfo bi e contradict wo mo ho with a year school feeding ne SHS feeding. Doctor said which my church in Simon na you love this man. Obe penasem keke. Yenti ni sem. Let's try your conversation man.
It started like 6 months before we left office, the distribution, and it's continuing. As I speak with you, distribution is going on.
So how many?
It has not been stopped.
Schools had it before you left office?
When I left, I think there were about 200 to 300 schools that have received it.
Okay.
Yeah, but now it's ongoing.
So the cross-check from the schools will get to know.
Oh no, you get to know. No, if you cross-check with the minister, you get to know. It's ongoing. It's going all over the place because you see, we have a new curriculum that is being implemented now, and we were fortunate to have been given funding from MasterCard Foundation to develop the books for the students. Okay. And these are all e-books. So without the tablets, they are going to be hampered. So the distribution is ongoing. It's going very well. And the whole idea is that students are also, teachers are being trained to use AI assessment portals.
Okay.
What that means is that when the student writes an essay, it can be graded for them with AI. So assessment is instant.
Okay.
And you have teachers getting feedback themselves and giving feedback to the students through the assessment portal.
But they also had issues with their laptops.
You see, these laptops, they have issues. I'm not sure in terms of what the issues were, because I know there was a system in place for repairs to be done if there's a breakdown. But every teacher got their laptop before we left.
Every teacher?
Every teacher, yes.
Got his own laptop?
Yes. You can check in with the unions.
Every single teacher?
Every one of them. You can check in. You can check in with them and it will be confirmed that everyone got it. So the most important thing for me is that there's now training for the teachers who are going to be teaching using these devices at the high school level. And the training is ongoing. Many places you go in, even GES, as I speak with you, have people going out throughout the country to see how things are going. I don't want to be speaking for them. I'm no longer there. So I don't want to go into that space. Okay. I think we leave that discussion to the current administration instead of preempting what they are doing.
But the teachers also spoke about the quality of the laptop. How much did one laptop cost?
No, let me tell you. I don't have that information. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I don't have that. If you talk to GES, they'll be able to give you more information on that.
But in terms of the quality of the laptop too?
No, I tell you this. I'm no longer the minister. Don't put me in a situation where I'm talking for a ministry that I no longer so pretend over. I thought we were coming here to talk about what we did. And
exactly. But this was something you did.
What the laptops I did, at the time I was leaving, they had the laptops and it was working. Okay. So if after I left, there's something, I don't want to be speaking for it. I don't think it's fair.
Okay. All right. One would think that, I mean, that was a great achievement. So we're looking at, once we are getting complaint of the quality of laptops, and of course...
No, you can always follow up. So far as I'm concerned, the laptops were given and they were working when I was leaving. If after I left, there are issues, I will not be a good person to speak to it.
Were there guarantees or warranties to help them?
Of course. Any project like that, you have warranties.
Okay. All right. Now, there's been a lot of controversies about the exact number of people who benefited from that wonderful policy. I always say it's wonderful because if I had not gotten World Vision to pay my school fees, I would not have been able to finish basic, finish SS before I even go to the university. So I liked it. But now As to the exact number of students who benefited, we don't know because there's different figures out there. You are the minister. You were the minister. How many students benefited?
I think we have issued a statement on this, but just for the benefit of your audience and yourself, you haven't seen it. The first time this issue came up was through Ministry of Finance. Their accounting for expenditure indicated the number in terms of first year how much they funded, the second year how many students they funded, the third year how many students they funded. So arithmetically, they were looking at how many funding units that they had done from a certain period to a certain period. And that arithmetic is what gave the 5.7 figure coming from the budget reading on the floor of Parliament.
Okay.
But you should also know that when you are dealing with not the funding units, but you are dealing with beneficiaries, if you are not doing a one-year program, people are benefiting a number of times in order for them to be fully classified as beneficiaries.
Okay.
So if you are counting the funding units and you are saying, okay, in our budget, 2017, we funded 360,000. 2018, we funded 700,000. That is in the budget. Then you go to the third year and say, in the third year, the number increased to, let's say, 1.1 million. So 300, 700, 1.1. This is the total number of funding units.
Okay.
However, when you do that, you are presuming that it's a one-time funding. So if you were dealing with graduate students who are going to university for 1 year, you'll be right.
Okay.
Because you fund them once and they are gone. You fund them once and you don't repeat. But if you do calculation based on a high school program that way, you are literally doing a double counting.
Okay.
Because the student who benefited first year that you funded at 360,000, he's included in your second year.
700.
700. And then the 700 is then included in your third year, 1.1. So the best thing to do, instead of adding the 360, the 700, the one, is to take the 1.1.
Okay.
Because that is cumulative.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is what we realized that the Ministry of Finance had done. And in fact, it was even before we saw it, some other CSOs had gone to check because they thought something fishy was taking place. That if you are adding this and adding this and adding, so are you receiving funding for the double counting, or are you receiving funding for the third year number? So when those calculations were done, we realized that the funding in terms of beneficiaries should be based on the third year number, and that you should not be counting the first year and second year, even though it sits on your books. Even though it sits on your books at the finance ministry, that this was the number that you funded, the number that you funded, the number you funded. So you can use that for your calculation. Okay. But it should not define the number in terms of ultimate beneficiaries.
Okay.
So it was this arithmetic error that showed up, that then found expression at the ministry. But quickly, after some time, we called and said, no, something is going on here. So if you look at the numbers, then when we did the reconciliation, that is when we were able to see that, oh, this was an arithmetic error. So even in the 2024 budget, they then listed the numbers breakdown so that everybody will see that it's not as if the education ministry was funded based on this number and the actual number was this. So if you go, the ministry numbers will tell you that there was nothing untoward. It wasn't any situation where somebody was trying to get more money and then say that this were the number of students that were funded. So I think it was some accounting thing, error that happened. And unfortunately, it took us some time to discover that, when at education, we should not be using the numbers as so articulated from the finance ministry.
So from your ministry, what was the number?
3.5.
Oh, 3.5. Oh, so okay, that means that you agree with what our research team put out there, 3.5 million. But from your experience, what you do know, as a minister who has implemented this, I mean, first 4 years as deputy, second 4 years as the minister, would you then agree with people who suggest that those who can, we should allow them pay?
I think I wouldn't want to preempt. This new government have not been there for too long. I don't want to go into that space. They have set up a committee. I think it's better you allow them to settle in to understand the issues and then lead their own discussions.
But it won't be bad to hear from a former Minister of Education.
I want to give them time to settle in. We came and understood clearly that our policy was just like pre-tertiary education policy anywhere in the world. Go to America, they are the ones who first introduced this. Secondary education is for all. After all, the so-called those who can are the taxpayers, the chief directors of ministries, headmasters, people who are being taxed in this country at a very high level. They are the ones that will say, government is going to spend, but you